It began with a silence so thick, you could feel it settle over the studio audience like fog. Cameras were rolling, lights glaring. Jimmy Kimmel sat behind his desk, smiling, but something was off. Across from him, in his usual unpredictable style, sat Jim Carrey. Hair wild, eyes sparkling with the kind of mischief that could either lead to gut-busting laughter or national headlines. But what happened next, no one could have predicted. Not even the producers. Jim leaned in, his voice low, almost conspiratorial. You ever feel like you're just pretending to be yourself? The audience chuckled lightly, unsure of whether to laugh or lean in. Jimmy blinked, caught off guard. What do you mean? He asked, still grinning but clearly sensing the shift. And that's when Jim Carrey flipped the script, not just on the interview, but on what late-night television could be. With a mix of razor-sharp humor and unexpected depth, Jim launched into a monologue that would leave millions rewatching the clip in stunned amazement. Rewind a few months. Jim Carrey had been keeping a low profile. After years of highs and lows, from blockbuster comedies to deeply personal struggles with depression and loss, he'd taken a step back from Hollywood. Painting in his studio, reading philosophy, searching, not for fame, not for applause, but for peace. And when the invite to appear on Jimmy Kimmel Live came, he almost said no. What did he have to prove anymore? But something in him stirred. Maybe, just maybe, he thought, it was time to say something real. He didn't prepare jokes, didn't rehearse, just walked out onto that stage with a grin and a fire in his heart. And the world was not ready. Back on stage, the interview started as any other. Jokes about past films, a couple of silly faces, a clip from a new Netflix project. The audience was eating it up. Jimmy leaned in, ready for another laugh, when he casually joked, "You've always been kind of crazy, huh?" And that's when the room shifted. Jim paused. "Crazy?" he echoed, smiling. "You know, people called me crazy when I said I used to look in the mirror and not see anyone there. They laughed when I said the person they thought I was didn't exist." There was a hush. "But what's really crazy," he continued, "is pretending your whole life just to be loved. That's the real insanity. And most of us are doing it. Right now." Jimmy blinked. The crowd didn't laugh this time. Jim smiled, leaned back in his chair, and then, like flipping a switch, launched into a biting yet hilarious impersonation of his younger self. Rubber-faced, over the top, desperate for attention. "Look at me. I'm funny. Laugh, please, I need this to survive," he shouted, wildly flailing his arms in parody. The audience roared. Jimmy was laughing now too, but something had changed. Beneath the humor was truth. Raw, uncomfortable truth. "And I got so good at it," Jim said, quieting down, "that I forgot how to stop. Until I looked around one day and realized, I didn't know who I was without it. I had the whole world laughing, but inside, I was alone." The audience was silent. "But I'm not alone anymore," he added softly, eyes shining. "Because I stopped needing to be. I found out that being yourself, really yourself, is enough. Even if the world doesn't clap for it." There was a long pause. Then Jimmy, visibly moved, broke into a slow clap. The audience followed. A wave of applause, not just for a performance, but for something real. Something brave. The clip went viral within hours. "Jim Carrey Destroys Jimmy Kimmel" was the title on most uploads, but anyone who watched it knew it wasn't about destruction. It was about revelation. Yes, Jim's comedic timing was brilliant. Yes, he caught Jimmy off guard. But more than that, he did something few celebrities ever do on live television. He dropped the mask. And invited everyone watching to do the same. In the days that followed, the moment sparked conversations across social media. People started sharing their own stories, about burnout, about identity, about the masks they wore for others. It became more than a viral moment. It became a movement. And as for Jimmy, he invited Jim back on the show a month later. This time, the conversation started not with jokes, but with a question. "Who are you when no one's watching?" Jim smiled, leaned in, and said, hopefully, the same guy the first time when they are. The message, beneath the comedy, the chaos, and the clapping crowds, we're all just trying to be seen. To be loved for who we are, not for the roles we play. And sometimes it takes a fool, brilliant, brave, and unafraid, to speak the truth that everyone else is too scared to say. So maybe the most courageous thing you can do, is stop performing. and start being.